almost been a year since Drive has been released and it's still going strong. You have thousands of players grinding every day with their characters, whether that be in the park for some casual fun, sets that they find via communities, or grinding Gears version of rank known as the Tower. And the usual sorts, composed of 10 floor system instead of a more standard bronze to diamond or ELA based system. And at the top of it, you have the secret, not so secret, celestial floor, aka heaven. But something that not many players realize is that there's actually another secret floor that only the most unfortunate of gamers will come across. One's cursed since the beginning of their own existence. This is fucking corny. And that's the floor 10.5, or I like to call it purgatory to some degree. 10.5 floor is a meme that I recently heard of. It's a situation where players are good enough to ascend to the 10th floor to challenge the angels, only to be smited and struck back down, creating this loop between the two floors that may feel endless. And due to rank systems and how they work in video games, you might feel like you aren't progressing and stuck in a plateau. Now I fight these players from time to time, either when heaven resets or when they come to challenge me in heaven. And the funny thing is, many of these players are technically doing the right things with their characters, but either have holes in their game plan or aren't considering certain particular options. However, at the fall of fighting games, they don't really provide you with any real feedback. So from many players' perspectives, they're just getting their ass kicked, which is kind of why I wanted to make this video. Alright gamers, it's your time to rise and claim the spot amongst the heaven that you, yes you, rightfully deserve. To rise above the ashes and lay conquest on your foes. I totally mean this in a non-condescending way. Not condescending whatsoever. I ask you, have you considered looking at the screen? Hello? Is this thing on? Joking aside, I truly mean this in a genuine way. I believe the first time I heard someone say this is Lord Knight, which is a dope pro player and content creator. But what does this mean? Well, you could take this in a lot of different directions, if I'm going to be honest. As mentioned earlier, many 10.5ers have the right ideas with their characters, but aren't taking many things into consideration. One of them being their opponent. Players tend to focus solely on their game plan and what they want to do in game, and make zero attempt to adjust for how their opponent is playing. While of course you can make assumptions based off your opponent's characters, hey, that's an Ology player, he's going to spin. You technically don't know that until it's presented. I have literally, as the Ology player, gone multiple games in a row fighting someone without spinning once, and people still try to run up throw me, which is this risky gamble if I'm never presented. And without adjusting and considering the context of the game, you're reducing your odds of winning. Where's my opponent's resources like? What's my resources like? Where are we on the screen? What's my opponent done in neutral, and how have they adjusted to how I'm playing the game? There are many questions you should ask yourself, but given the pacing of gear, you may not be able to get answers right away. However, being able to adjust your strategy mid-set and between rounds will surely increase your odds of victory. Another aspect that is important is resource management, which there are many resources in this game, and that may vary from character to character, of course. And I will specifically talk about three main resources I think are very important that people don't think about enough. Burst, meter, and the wall. Burst and meter are resources that are often misused from time to time. In the case of burst, it's your lifeline or get out of jail free card, right? Now, while you can have your burst baited or lost at burst safe combos, a lot of these things come down to this understanding the situations, which comes with experience. What I specifically want to mention regarding burst though is gold burst and baiting burst. Now look, I get it. Burst baiting, extremely fun. You just snatch someone's soul out of their pocket, you know what I'm saying? But if they don't take the bite, to stop doing it. I can't count the amount of times I've seen players burst bait over and over again and just lose their pressure, lose all the offense they had, and have the situation just turned on them. Just do the combo if someone's not going to bite. Also think about the context of the game itself. Think about where you are on the screen. Think about why would they burst here, if they should burst there. And if they burst in a bad position while you have a very healthy life lead, a lot of times you're guaranteed to win the round anyway, as long as there aren't major mistakes. And for gold burst, great mechanic. Don't get me started about gold burst. But if anytime I fight someone that uses gold burst very early on a match, my reaction is like, oh, this is the type of game we're playing, isn't it? It's a very strong mechanic, and many players over rely on it and gamble with it too frequently, and quite frankly don't even use the meter very well. Oftentimes when they gold burst in these situations, they would just use a skip neutral type of function. I'm looking at you RAM players, or dump it immediately in pressure. And then once again, this goes without saying, gold burst is great, the meter is great, but if you don't have an idea what to do with the meter afterwards, you really shouldn't over rely on this mechanic. Speaking of which, let's talk about meter usage. Meter usage really varies between player styles and characters. Some people like to mitigate risk with strike foot pressure or make buttons more safe, like RAM players. Maybe they use it to make certain options stronger or potential frame traps, like RAM Rekkas. Or in some cases, people will use it to skip neutral by traversing the screen quickly or using a large move like the GOG early copy of DF Duel, like RAM players. I love RAM. Smile. Having a plan for your meter is important, and what's equally important is thinking about the value of your meter. Oftentimes, I see players spend their bar with their character without gain much of an advantage. A small amount of damage or combo that doesn't lead to a hard knockdown, and by far, the worst thing I see people do, without question, is RCing throws for a marginal amount of damage or wall breaking. If it's not going to kill, these RCs truly do not do anything and put you in meter penalty. And for those that don't know, in Arc Services games, after using meter, you will incur a penalty where you will not be able to build bar for extended period of time, and this will vary depending on what you spend your meters in. So in Strive, YRC incurs a extremely long meter penalty, meaning you kind of want to use it to close out rounds instead of just randomly spending it on defense. While BRC actually has a very low penalty where you get your meter like back to normal rates pretty quickly afterwards. Some players may justify this by breaking the wall, considering the positive bonus, but I believe this is a misunderstanding of one of the most important mechanics in Strive, which is the wall. The wall is mysterious. Based off our understanding, the math behind it is quite convoluted, and how and when it breaks is, well, unintuitive. To be honest, only experience playing the game will prepare you to know when it may break, given the life bar is technically hidden. But why is the wall such an important resource? Because in every fighting game, the corner is a resource, an important resource that you want to have. It is what you want as the aggressor to pin your opponent down to the wall and tell them pick a god and pray. The wall is designed to give the defender another chance at life. By breaking the wall, you would reset them to neutral, allowing you to play the game again. As an aggressor, you don't want that shit. You need to decide the following. When is the wall going to break? Do I have meter for super for hard knockdown? And a very important question, do I even want the wall to break? Depending on the routing of your combo, you might want to drop the combo and keep them in the corner. This will allow you to continue running your pressure and potentially have mirror if you land another successful hit. Now, this is quite situational and varies depending on matchup and, well, resources, to be frank. If I'm Anji fighting Soul, maybe I don't mind breaking the wall. If I already have a lead, I get mirror bonus, I think I'm fine with fighting Soul in neutral, yeah. But if I'm fighting Happy Chaos, the last thing I want to do is return to neutral without that hard knockdown. Furthermore, if I'm trying to mount comeback, assuming I have a life disadvantage, and I break the wall with no bar, while my opponent has burst and a stick of butter, they can gamble in the open gambit type situation, while I have to respect their options. It really does vary, not only based off the situation, but on your character. Some characters are perfectly fine with just breaking the wall whenever they get the crack, like Gold Lewis typically, while some characters will want to get like a wall slump situation, like your Chips or your Enos. The last thing I want to mention, I'm going to keep this part real short and sweet because this kind of might deserve its own video on itself, is win conditions in fighting games. And in this case, it's just understanding your win condition. Win condition may vary for character to character, and it's important to know them. And win cons can also vary in strength. While a character like Girasol, win conditions may be simple and not as apparent, really it's kind of pushing people to their corner, getting corner pressure. Someone like Eno or Milius may be more important to their general game plan, which is gain that hard knockdown. But finding ways to access your win con often and frequently will simply make your life easier. It will allow you to smother your opponent and close the game easier. Oftentimes, I see players even in heaven not understand what makes their character strong and how to keep their win condition going. They will sacrifice screen positioning and maybe a hard knockdown just for a crumb of damage as simply as just not worth it. With the combination of the aforementioned tools, I believe you, the gamer, 10.5, 10, 9, 8, doesn't really matter. You can make it to heaven. So what do you think? This has been Bit Sub, like, follow my Twitch if you like the video. I'll see you next time. Peace.